I'm always happy to write people back, but also, why would you ever ask me for help? Like, why would you read this book and your takeaway from it is that I can help you sort out your life? Like, whatever else I've done, I have in no way sorted out my life.
Welcome to Bitch Talk. I'm your host, Erin.
And I'm co-host Ange, aka Captain Party.
And for more than 11 years, the show has celebrated underrepresented voices in pop culture and beyond.
But not in the snore kind of way, which is why our listeners and followers have graciously voted us Best of the Bay, Best Podcast on 48 Hills for 3 years in a row. Three-peat, bitches.
If you like what you hear, follow us on Instagram and check out our website, Bitch Talk Podcast, and rate us wherever you listen to podcasts.
We're begging you to judge us. When does that ever happen? Oh, you're not going to say anything?
What'd I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, on with the show. Cling.
I think I have this thing where I'm just the biggest asshole in the world, and anytime I have an accomplishment or am successful in some way, that's me pulling one over on everybody. And so the least I can do is not be proud of myself for convincing people that I'm a good writer, whatever it is.
Let's just go from there. Just kidding.
That's deep.
We'll do a proper intro, but we can talk more about all of that because I think all three of us feel the same way. All right, bitch talkers. This is a bitch that has been long time in the making to be on Bitch Talk. We've been emailing back and forth about having Rex King on, so I'm going to do proper intro. We're talking today with author Rex King, also podcaster, banjo player, and writer.
Triple threat.
Yeah, I mean, probably more than that. Rex, I'm talking about their latest book, Sloppy. Thank you so much for being on Bitch Talk, Rex.
Thank you for having me. This is already so fun.
Yeah, I mean, we're already talking about being assholes, so that
Yeah.
feels really on brand for us. If you could do us a favor and our listeners a favor, can you talk about what Sloppy is?
Yeah, sure. Sloppy or Doing It All Wrong is my forthcoming personal essay collection. And it's about, it's titled says it all, doing it all wrong and having bad habits and addictive behaviors of all kinds. Going out there, being a bad friend, mistreating people in in various ways that I hope I've stopped doing at this point. And yeah, just, warts and all.
Yes, I love how personal and difficult a lot of these stories are, but you tell them in such a relatable way. I was laughing my ass off at the pool, really enjoying your book while I was on vacation. It was the perfect accompaniment for that. But I'm just wondering, when you're looking back at your life and you're picking which stories to tell that would properly display this sloppiness you speak of. Were there some that you were like, no, maybe that's too far. I'm going to have to keep that to myself?
Oh, absolutely. And I'm actually pretty secretive in general, and that's something that people really don't believe because my work is, talks about all kinds of stuff that the majority of people would be ashamed to admit they had done. And I'm not embarrassed about any of the stuff that appears in my books. I wouldn't write about something if it still had the power to make me feel bad about myself. And so, it's if I'm going to write about something, even something really heavy, I have to have a relationship with it where I can poke fun at myself and, take a really frank look at my role in whatever situation. Like there's an essay in here about the week that I spent in the, psychiatric ward. And I read from it a lot. Like when I do live events, that's the essay that I tend to read from. And I like to think it's really funny. I mean, I always get, laughs when I read from it. And when I did an event where my mom was in the audience, she came up to me afterwards and was like, That was really funny. And I remember that week as just being one of the saddest times in both of our lives. And it's incredible to me that you're up there talking about it like it's a stand-up show. And I'm like, yeah, that I've sat with that memory for a really long time in order to be able to find what's funny about it.
Yeah, it's yeah, again, this is a really personal series of essays, and I want to know after you jot them down, figure out which ones you're going to release to the public, is there a sense of relief for you once they're out there and people are getting to know the real you?
Relief, and also it just feels indescribably strange. It feels strange every time someone, writes me one of those beautiful, incredibly kind emails to the effect of, hey, just for example, you're a drunken fuck up, used to be a drunken fuck up, and hey, me too. And do you have advice for me on such and such, problem that often afflicts drunken fuck ups? And I'm like, I'm always happy to write people back, but also, why would you ever ask me for help? Like, why would you read this book and your takeaway from it is that I can help you sort out your life? Like, whatever else I've done, I have in no way sorted out my life.
I don't know. I would kind of argue maybe you haven't sorted it out, but you've definitely reflected to the point of learning. And that's kind of all that we can hope for, right? Is like we're going to continue to fuck up and make mistakes. All we can do is learn from it and not repeat them. And I feel like you're a walking example of that.
See, the bitch of it is, you're right. You are right about that. But there is a point in the reflecting and learning that I keep bumping up against where I'm like, why do I still have problems? I've done so much reflecting and learning. I have been sober now 3 years and change, which is,
Congratulations.
Congrats.
thank
Amazing.
you.
Yeah.
Yes, I will always be told I'm amazing for that. I hope people keep doing it forever. But getting sober and staying sober means so much reflecting and learning and incorporating of different approaches and different kinds of wisdom into your day to day. And you hit like an inflection point of doing that where you're like, wait a minute, I'm still such a fuck up. Like, why? Why did none of this fix me?
Mm.
Mhm.
Um, I want to know about sober life. You said 3 years and change, plus talking about your parents who were both addicts. How does that work out for you in the day to day and with talking like with your mom about this life?
So I actually feel really fortunate that both my parents, they had already done battle with their own addictions by the time I came into the world, pretty much. Well, I guess my mom got sober a little bit after I was born. My dad at that point had been clean from drugs for a number of years. And it made me feel that, well, I'm not going to say it made me feel this way because when I was really young, I actually found my parents' sobriety totally cringe and embarrassing.
Yeah.
Like, why can't you just drink like normal parents?
Hmm.
But in retrospect, growing up in a house where recovery was the norm probably saved my ass. I mean, I got sober relatively young. I was about to turn 30 when I got sober. And I think I was able to do that partly because it had been modeled for me so unstintingly. And like, for all that my parents could be pretty strict about substance use stuff, like for their own safety, they couldn't have me bringing that stuff in the house because it was dangerous for them. And so they could be strict about it, but they never made me feel like if I had problems with addiction, I couldn't talk to them. They were incredibly open with me about their what we in recovery call the drunkalogue, like the little timeline of drunken fuck ups that you've amassed in the course of your life. And they were very open with me about that stuff. And we're always happy to answer any questions I might have about their recovery or about what sobriety was like, what addiction was like, what individual drugs were like. I mean, they were really generous with those sorts of details when I'm sure they knew that could have backfired. And so I really have a lot of gratitude for having grown up in that kind of environment as opposed to like if my parents had still been drinking and using, or if they were sober but just never talked about it, it would have become this big looming thing. I never would have had it just constantly in the back of my mind as the thing I would ultimately probably have to do. And I did, like pretty much the whole time I was drinking and using drugs. I knew that I was going to have a problem with it, and I knew that I did have a problem with it. And despite the fact that that somehow did not convince me to stop on its own, it also like kept me relatively stable, and it kept me, I think, from going to some kind of point of no return.
Mm.
So speaking of your parents, one of the chapters that I really enjoyed reading and related to the most was after your dad's passing, you going through his stuff and basically not being able to get rid of anything. I had to do that myself, and it was it's something you don't think when you think about your parents passing, you don't necessarily think of that part of it, and it's so weird, the guilt, the oh, but that was his favorite, or that was, and then it's also weird the things you decide to keep. Of all things, like my dad's favorite binoculars. I'm like, that's it. That's what I'm going to save, like, so can you talk about like, do you still have a bunch of your dad's stuff? What is something that you've kept that's kind of odd or something that was hard for you to let go of?
Oh boy, do I still have all of my dad's stuff? I mean, it's 7 years now since he died, and yes, I haven't thrown one single solitary thing away. A
Mm.
couple things have just sort of gotten lost of their own accord, the way objects do, but I'm looking at two of my dad's wall hangings right now, and then on my desk there's like little trinkets and toys that belong to him. And the other room is where it's really bad. It's like everything on the walls belong to him, everything on a shelf belonged to him. It's just like tchotchke central. And it's not even like his favorite stuff, I don't think. I mean, I have some paintings that I know he was really fond of, and I gotta figure he was very attached to his many, many ashtrays, which I've inherited, but like by and large, they're trinkets that he, put on a shelf and never looked at. And now they've passed into my hands, and I'm putting them on a shelf and never looking at them. And like, I'm certain that most of them came to him from his mother, who also had them on a shelf, not looking at them. And it's just like, I can know that. I can know these are things of no really significant value to anyone, him or me, and I can't get rid of him. I can't do it because if I
Mhm.
do, he's going to come back and he's going to want all of his stuff that I threw away. And then I'm going to be, in the wrong because I threw away the dead man's stuff.
So
Yep.
real. I had to ask for forgiveness when I was getting rid of some stuff. And my parents were really religious. So all the Mary statues and the baby
So many.
Jesuses, I'm
Mm.
like, I just have to. I'm sorry. I live in San Francisco. It's a small apartment. I can't keep it all, but yeah, I had to have a conversation as I was getting rid of stuff. So
Yeah,
respect.
religious people have more stuff than anybody. My dad was not religious, and like, thank God, because those guys have so many like little teeny tiny objects, and they're holy objects. I mean, it's
Right.
like little
Supposedly,
bottles of,
yes.
yeah, supposedly it's like little things of holy water and
Yeah, holy water. I'm like,
statues.
oh, I guess I'll splash that on for good luck. I don't know.
Like, how much harder must that stuff be to get rid of? Where not only would my parents be mad at me, there's a, small but non-zero chance that I'm offending God right now. I don't like that shit at all.
But also, I mean, but we're also offending God every minute. So, I mean, yeah,
Correct.
whatever that is, it is they,
She
she. I do want to please talk about coming up with the title. I love the word sloppy and often forget about it until you hear about like sloppy seconds or
Sloppy
being
Joe.
sloppy Joe. Like, we don't talk about sloppy Joes enough, but like that word's perfect.
Oh yeah, it's I mean, where it came from in the text is there's an essay in there about me being not a good student, frankly, pretty much
Yeah.
my entire disgraced academic career up through graduating college. And the refrain I was always hearing from teachers was that I was doing a sloppy job. You know, I would hand in a test 5 minutes after they passed it out because I legitimately could not think of other stuff to do with this test than what I had already written on it. Like there was just this barrier between me and trying hard that I could not overcome. And so that was always the answer. Like you went too fast, you didn't check your work. This is sloppy. What you're doing is sloppy. And they were right. And that's still very much the case. I'm still pretty sloppy in many of my doings. And it just seems like the perfect word to describe the type of the particular type of hot mess that I am, where like I'm a slob. I make messes, physical and emotional. Sloppy, you know, it goes with drunkenness. People get sloppy drunk. It goes with what you just said, sloppy seconds. Like been there, just sloppy anything. Ate a lot of sloppy Joe when I was a child, frankly. Kind of want to eat more of it right now, actually, now that it's
Same.
coming up. But
Starving.
you know, it always has this connotation, not just of messiness, but of carelessness. And that's how I proceeded for a long time, and it's still my instinct is to be careless. And yeah, I'm working on it.
So there's I'm going to call out my co-host here, Aaron. So there's two things you write about in the book, and I was like, oh, yep, that's either Aaron and I, or that's specifically my co-host here. One of them is being an old dad or an old man in your soul, which is we talk about that all the time. Like in my mind, I feel like a child, but my soul is an old man, right? We go to we are just
Yes.
to its core. So I love that. But then you call yourself Eeyore, and that is my
Oh,
nickname for her. Right here, I call her
has
Eeyore.
been, has
So
been.
yes, I felt a lot of Samantha Irby in those terms, and in that when you're writing about that stuff too, which is how we got connected with you, Rax, is for our love of Samantha Irby, and we interviewed her, and now we, you know, that connected us to you. So can you talk about just what it is to be an Eeyore and an old man, and it really it's a beautiful thing too, which you discuss. It's not all bad.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Samantha Irby, Speak of the Devil, she has this great line in one of her books about you know, if it were possible for me to move into a nursing home right now, I would do it. And she's, I mean, not of nursing home age at all.
No,
And I
no.
have absolutely like looked at those Florida retirement communities, like the ones that have a really robust activities roster and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. And I'm like, damn, this looks incredible. I want to go to a place and they just have all these incredible little activities for me to do. And there's a doctor there and it's like safe. It's all on one level. I don't got to climb the stairs. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm 33 years old. Like, theoretically, I should be able to tackle a flight of stairs without complaining about it. But that's, you know, it's the old man in me. I have to complain. I have to do it so much. I complain all day long, dawn till dusk, like in my head and out of my mouth. I'm always griping. My podcast literally has a segment called the Gripe Zone,
Mm.
where everybody, you know, goes around the room and says one petty complaint. And it can go on for a long time because I just, you know, you get in a groove with the complaining and it just feels like you have so much more complaining in you. And that's, you know, kind of core to my character is this sort of low level petty dissatisfaction. But yeah, you know, there is a really positive side towards being this person, which is that spending a lot of time in this kind of griping, dissatisfied place makes you a good friend to people who need to gripe, need to air their dissatisfaction. I mean, you're right there with them. You understand everything and you're sympathetic and you're not going to just tell them to get over it. And I like to think that that's something really positive and beneficial that this often irksome quality of mine does for me is it makes me in a very real sense a better friend and a better person just by showing me like if this is what I'm going through in my head over absolutely nothing 24 hours a day, like when other people are having real problems,
Mhm.
I can feel for them. I can feel for them, I think, in a way that maybe doesn't come naturally to people who aren't just like always waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I mean, are you reading her journal or something? This is just
Uh,
spot on. Yeah.
look,
Sorry, I
because
had to
it's
call you out.
real. Because it's real. Anyways, go ahead, Ange. all
No,
real.
it is. No, and I appreciate that about her, but I have to call her Eeyore, and she
Yeah.
accepts it, so it's fine.
Fine. I get it.
Yeah, we do have to wrap soon, but I had to bring up one more thing about the book. So you obviously have the coolest name in the world. Your name is Rax King, but as a child, you wished your name was Antoinette.
Oh, right.
Ugh, yeah.
And
God, that maybe
that
is
is
embarrassing. Actually,
no,
that might
oh
be an
my
embarrassing thing in the book.
okay, Rex. Okay, we have to dive deep because one of my sister's names is Antoinette.
Okay, so
No,
I
no,
have a question about
yes,
that.
yes.
Do people call her Auntie?
No, Aunt.
That's what my teacher tried to tell me to convince me I did not actually want to be called Antoinette. She was like, everyone would call you Auntie.
No.
I never did believe it, and even now that I no longer want that to be my name, I kind of want to like get that teacher on the phone and tell her the jig is up.
No, because that's what you call your aunt,
Yeah,
auntie.
that's right.
Yeah, no, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. No,
Hmm.
um,
It is. Thank
no,
you.
but so I was on vacation with my sister when I read that, and I read it out loud to her. I started cracking up, and I was like, number one, I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and then also in her honor, I might have to fight you if I ever see you in real life
Oh,
for
that's
disrespecting her
fine.
name. I'm just kidding.
No, that yeah, I
But
mean,
let's get
that's
into
okay.
why ill. She thinks it's because it sounds kind of pretentious. Maybe if you're like, I'm Antoinette, and you say it like that. Is that why it's ill?
Yeah, pretty much spot on
Okay.
actually,
Okay.
because like as a little kid, it wasn't just that name. Like anytime I'd be reading one of my books and there was a woman with just a beautiful sounding flowy name with lots of
Mm.
open-ended vowel sounds and whatnot, like I would latch on to that shit every single time and be like, I'm exactly as elegant of a princess as that person, obviously. So that should be my name. And so Antoinette was the one that stuck for the longest and, has proven the most embarrassing to me over time for pretty much that reason. But it wasn't the only one. I was like, there was a year or maybe longer than that when I was changing my name like every other week. I just wanted any beautiful princess name. I wanted to, because I thought that if I graft a princess name onto myself, that will allow me to change my personality too. It's the same thing little
Mm.
kids are always doing where like they come back after summer vacation, all of a sudden they have an accent or whatever. Like, oh, you're just
Uh,
making shit up and you're trying to like mold yourself into a new kind of person that you
uh,
actually aren't.
like adults also do that anyways.
Yeah, oh,
Oh
absolutely.
my God. What is her name? Hilaria
Hilaria
Baldwin.
Baldwin.
Hilaria. The
Strange
hilarious syndrome.
person. Very strange person.
Oh, that's so funny. Thank you for sharing that with us. There were so many, but that's the thing, Rax. It's like there were so many things in this book that I was like, oh my God, we are meant to be friends, I think, or like we all have the same existence. Could that be? Because it was just time after time. Like the more I read it, I was like, oh my God. And now that Varsity Blues, that's another one. Everybody has a Varsity Blues story. I don't know how that
Varsity
movie
Blues.
has stood the test of time somehow. I guess 99 wasn't a good year for film because Varsity Blues keeps coming back. I don't know.
It's a good movie,
Oh, I
and
loved
yeah,
it. Paul
banger
Walker.
movie. I,
Duh.
I recently watched it again, thinking like maybe this wasn't actually that good of a movie. No, it's an incredible movie. It holds up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, so we have a closing
Yes.
segment. Aaron, you want to? Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, we have a closing segment. You can take a minute to think about it if you'd like. We're doing this thing called This Bitch at the end of our episodes. So, it could be a good this bitch. It could be you need to get something off your chest, Rax, which you and I both, I feel like we always do. But, like it could be a good bitch, it could be a bad bitch, it could be, whatever you want. But like right now, who's this bitch for you?
Okay, I love how you like had to explicitly tell me it can be something good. It doesn't have to be complaining. Obviously, I'm going to complain and like probably at some length. Let me think for a second.
Ah.
You know what? I do have a this bitch.
Hmm.
So my husband was in the hospital about 7 months ago, for kind of a while, actually, and he's fine now. So I should really get over this, but I'm not going to. When he was in the hospital, he's in the ICU. He was all laid up and like still unconscious, still under anesthesia. And I was in there like unshowered, exhausted, just watching him sleep, incredibly grim in mind and spirit. And this bitch walks in the room and she's wearing like a blazer, like a Zara blazer and like a fake silk shirt, carrying a clipboard. And I'm like, here we go. Because that is never a good sign when someone dressed exactly like that walks up in your hospital room. And so she came in very unsmiling and she told me she was from the such and such hospital finance department. And she
Oh.
wanted to talk to me about how all this was going to be getting paid for. And that, no, like I'm simply not going to be having that conversation with you. It is not my problem that you have decided the hospital should make money off this situation. Not my husband's problem. Get the fuck out of this room. I hope I can say that, but because I was thinking it at the time and I almost did say it to her, and I managed to somewhat politely tell her to come back later. And she never did. She never did come back. So, it was probably for the best because I was not responsible for my actions at that time. Like in sobriety, I'm much more responsible for my actions, but I was, one wrong look away from just beating the shit out of someone. So yeah, I've been thinking about that for months on end. She came in there, she was not polite, she was not friendly, she did not soften that conversation at all. She just like came up to me during one of the worst moments of my life and wanted to talk to me about money. Absolutely not. I'm going to fight you. That's my person. That's my this bitch.
That is, yes.
Topical.
Yes, very topical. We talk about the healthcare system often in this country and how fucked up it is. So
It's
thank
so
you.
fucked up. Yeah.
It's so fucked up. And I'm rewatching Breaking Bad and I'm like, oh my, like
Mm.
the whole commentary around healthcare in this country is a little bit, it's refreshing and also, this bitch.
Mm-hmm.
But thank you for sharing that. We appreciate that. And I'm glad your husband's better.
Mhm.
Yeah, thank you. Me
Yeah.
too.
And you know what? You can hold on to this bitch for a real long time.
That's fair.
It's fair. Yeah. 7 months. Psh.
7 months is nothing in grudge time. Also, I do have grudges from like middle school, so
Oh, yeah. We hear that.
Uh,
Thank you so much for being on Bitch Talk. We've been speaking with Rax King, the author of Sloppy or Doing It All Wrong, which is in stores now. Thank you so much.
thank you.
In stores, also online. What is this? The 80s?
Okay, old man.
No,
Old man.
the old
syndrome.
man was talking about. In stores now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rax. That was super fun.
Thank you so much. That was super fun.
Thanks for joining us on today's show. You can find more information about this episode in our show notes.
If you're missing us, you can visit us at bitchtalkpodcast.com to sign up for our newsletter and buy us a cup of coffee.
Did you know we're also on the radio? You can find us at bff.fm.
And lastly, rate and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. All the cool bitches are doing it.